Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this channel, we discuss about technology applications, all kinds of applications that we use in real life. Today, I'm going to look at count functions, different ways we can use formulas to count different items. I have 6 examples that I'm gonna demonstrate today. So let's get started. The first example, I have dates here and names, and each of these dates fall in a given year. For example, the first 3 years are in 2020, the next 4 years are in 2021. So I want to run through this information and I count how many are in 2020, how many are in 2021. So let's use the count ifs formula. And how the count ifs formula, if you don't know how it works, it takes a range, and after that range, it takes a criteria to count that range it has taken in, then takes another range, and then a criteria to count the next range. So we are gonna take in the range. Our range we are going to count is this one. Then we lock it with function f4. And then what are we going to count? We are going to count dates. So we want to count those which are in 2020. So I have to consider all dates for the whole year. So my criteria will be greater or equal to, I think I have to use the n% here, and then I say date. So the year is 2020, the month is 1, and the date is 1. So I'm saying I want all dates which are greater than 1st January 2020. And now I have to come and repeat all this. I just copy this here, put there, change it to less than. Then the last date of the year is 2020, 31st December 2020. So what does this formula mean? It means that we are counting all dates in this range, which are greater than the first day, greater or equal to the first day of the year 2020, and less or equal to the last day of the year 2020. So I think I have to close this here. And there we go, we get a 3. So 2020 are these 3 over here, 1, 2, 3. 2021, the formula is the same, but we just have to change it to the year 2021. So this becomes 2021, this becomes 2021. The rest is the same. You do that, you get a count of 4. If you count this, you get 7. 3 in 2020 plus 4 in 2021, we get 7. So it has counted this. So this is the way how you can use the count ifs to count the dates of the year. Next, we're going to look at, in a given range, we have the names here and scores here, and we want to count the values between 70 and 79, then the value between 80 and 89, then 90 and 100. The total value count we have here is 7, so we should get the last figure here as 7. So how do we go about this? Now, what we're gonna do, we can also use the same count ifs, which takes in a range. What range are we going to count from? We're going to count from this range. I'm gonna fix it with that. Then I want values which are greater or equal to 70 for the first range, and less or equal to 79. So what do? I say that's my range. Now my first criteria is greater or equal to my value is in F2, like so. Then I come back and do the same. Copy this. Then, but this time the range is the same. That's why I'm copying. But I'm gonna say less than or equal to, now the value is in G2. So after that, I'm gonna close that, and there you go. So what it is telling me is that there are 3 values between 70 and 79. Can we prove that? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, so we got it right. Now, after that, we just copy this down, and between 80 and 89, there are 2 values. There is 1 here, 2 here. Between 90 and 100, there are 2 values. 90, there's 1 here, come down. The second is here. There are 2 values. We add them up, there are 7. We add these, there are 7. So this is how you can count values in a given range. You use the count ifs, which takes the range and the criteria on which it is going to use to count, then takes another range, the same range, and the criteria it's going to use to count. That is example 2. Example 3, now this one we're also counting the yellows. This is quite easy. We can use the count if. I've been using count ifs, which takes in multiple ranges and multiple criteria. Now I'm using the count if, which takes in 1 criteria. I lock that, and then the value I place in this cell. So this yellow here, I'm giving it a criteria of yellow. In other words, it is gonna count yellows in this range and give me a value. As you can see, the yellows are 2, so I expect a 2 right there. So it is counting based on the criteria I place in this cell. If I change this cell to red, so 2, there are 2 here. I change this to green, it changes to 3, and there are 3 here in our range. That is count if. We have seen count ifs, and now we have just looked at the count if formula. The next example, I'm going to count values, but as I count, I want case sensitivity to be considered. So that means capital A is different from small a. ABC lowercase is different from ABC X uppercase. Now, there is a function which can help us here to do that, and it is the exact function. So I'm going to use the sum product and exact function. There's a video I did on the 14 text functions. It's quite a popular video. Please watch it. It explains all these text functions. So what does the exact function do? It compares a text like this against a given range like this one, and it return true if A, to compare this A with this A, if they are exactly the same, meaning that if this one is upper and this is uppercase, it will return a true. However, if this is lowercase and this is uppercase A, it will return false. So It compares those two functions. And let me just lock this range because I have to copy this function down. So to avoid my range being messed up, I'm gonna say compare this with this. So when I do that, it gives me this. Now, the challenge I have is that it is returning a range of values, an array of values. And all those array of values cannot be displayed in a single cell. So to see what it returns, highlight the formula like this, as I do here in my formula bar, then F9, function F9. So the moment I do that, what do we see? We see true, true, false, 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 false. What does this mean? How many are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you count these ones, they're also 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. However, the first two are truths and the rest are false. So why are they true? Because it checked this capital A against this capital A, and it said the case, this is upper and this is uppercase, they are similar. I have to return a true. However, if you go down and you see the last one, it returned a false, just like you see here, because despite the fact that this is A and this is A, it is saying it is a false because this is uppercase A, and this is small case A. And Excel is saying these are not the same if we use the exact function. Great. Now, after we have got this, our objective is to count how many capital A's are in this. So we need to wrap this in a formula that is going to count. But before we do that, to count this, we need to change them into zeros and ones. And one way to do that, I'm going to do Control Z to go back, is to put double dashes like so. Now, if I go back to see the details of this formula, Control function F9, there you go. So the truths have turned into ones. This is 1, 1, then the rest are zeros. So having done that, now our next challenge is to count, is to sum, because if I sum this, it will give me a sum of 2, and the sum of 2 is the true values, and the true values are where we have uppercase A compared to this, and it picks out these true values. So I Control Z to go back. Now the rest remaining is to use the sum product function, wrap it around this function, press enter, and you get your 2. So we have uppercase A being compared to A. Then I just copy this down, and then you see ABC, lowercase. There are 3 of these, which there are 3 here. Let's test this. I change this to ABC capital. So I expect this to go to 2. Let's check that. There you go. So we have ABC, lowercase is 2. It is skipping this because it is an uppercase, but it counts the small cases. So you can combine the exact function with the sum product function to achieve this objective. So this is a case where you want you're counting figure values or letters or text, and you're taking into consideration the case sensitivity. You want to count uppercase separate from the lower cases. Great. Let's move on to our 5th example. Now, our fifth example, we are gonna count values based on the number. We're going to count these values based on a number. So, in other words, this is one character. So this is one, this is one, this is two, this is two. You can have a scenario, yes, where you say, I want to count all the values in this range, all the values in this range, which have one character. Or I want to count all values in this range which have two characters. What do? We can use the count formula. I type my count formula, and all it needs is, sorry, I have to use the count if formula. All it needs is a range like so. Then in quotations, I'm going to give a question mark which represents one character. So if I put one question marks in quote, I'm telling Excel, count values in this range, which is B3 to B10, but which have one character. So what should we get? In this case, we are going to get, this has one character, this 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. So I expect a 5 as the answer, as you can see. If I change this question mark, I make them 2, how many do I have which have 2 letters? There, it is 0. It returns 0. Then if I change it to 3 and I say enter, it returns to 3 because there are only 3 texts here, 3 values which have 3 characters. This has 1, 2, 3. And there are 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. So that's why it returns 3. So you can come across such a scenario and say, I want to count all values in a given range with a given number of characters. It can be 1 character, it can be 2 characters, 3, as you wish. So you just use the count if formula and use the question mark to, if you use 1 question mark, it represents 1 character. If you use 2 question marks, it represents 2 characters, and so on. So this is a case that you can also come across. The 6th scenario here is, I want to count all values with letter B. For example, I can also say, I want to count all values with letter A in that range. Or I count values with letter B or C, as you wish. So here we use the count if formula, count if. The first argument is my range. My range is C2 to C10. Then my next argument is in quotation. If I want A, if I want all values beginning with A, so I put an A there, and then a star, then quotes, and my quotes, then close the brackets. So here I'm saying, I want you to count all values in this range C2 to C10 that start with letter A. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give me 6. Wonderful. It gives me 6 because these start with A. Oh, now in this case, it does not take whether I use capital A or small a it does not consider the sensitivity, the case sensitivity of the numbers. It will still count the A and the small a, irrespective of whether it is uppercase or lowercase. Next, I can say, count for me letter B. Let's try this. I'm putting a B between. It gives me 6. So it means that if you use star B star, what it does to count these ones, B, 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 and you get a 6. So depending on how your letters are arranged, you can use this. For example, if I want C, the star represents a character. So I say star, then C. So there's a first letter, then there's a second letter, then there's a C. So I enter that, I get 3. Thank you for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to watch more videos like this. This is all I have for you today, and have a great day.